Good evening. Tonight, Rabbi Levertov and I, Dr. Harry Krantz, will discuss the festive holidays called Sukkot and Simchat Torah. Did you know that there is a close connection between our American holiday of Thanksgiving and the Jewish festival of Sukkot? In the history of every people, there are good moments which it likes to recall in order to be reminded of the past and to learn from the past a lesson for the future. After our ancestors left Egypt, the Bible tells us they wandered for 40 years in the desert before reaching the promised land. They lived in makeshift shelters made of dry palms and branches. They were to live in these shelters for 7 days each year to remember the years of wanderings and hardship. Sukkot is also known as the Harvest Festival. The first harvest was ready to be gathered. Also, the grapes were ready to be made into wine. I remember when I was a young boy, my father and the entire family made wine in the bathtub. It was a great day of joy for everyone. Now, Rabbi, would you please continue and add something to this?
I wish you would continue about the wine.
The wine. Well, I could tell you the story that we...
How much wine did they make?
Well, they made, it put in 5 gallons of...
5 gallons of...
and we did...
A barrel?
Well, no, we put it in certain bottles. There were bottles. I think I remember it but it was very. We really had a lot of fun.
And this was even if you didn't even you just bought grapes.
Yeah, we bought black.
Especially
it was the black grapes that we made the wine.
The Concord grapes.
Yeah, that's what it was called.
Well, especially a person who owns a farm and owns and harvests. So for sure, it's a very happy time. So on that note, this is what Sukkot is about. It's a time when we gather in all the harvest. We take it into our houses. All the places that we store. All the stores are full. The storehouses are full. We're going back home. The fields are already harvested. There's nothing to do in the fields, and we go into our homes. And that's when the Torah says to celebrate, and that's when the Torah tells us to make a sukkah. To make a sukkah, actually, our rabbis say that according to the phrase of the Torah, we could learn that the actual branches that were of the leftovers of the harvest is what we use for the sukkah. So we take branches and pieces of the leftovers, but the leftovers of the corn stalks and things like that we use. Palms, if you have palms. But so the legal definition of what we could use for a sukkah, for a schach, is actually it has to be something that grows from the ground and yet is not susceptible to impurity, which is like fruits or anything that's made afterwards into a vessel. So you can't make a vessel and then let's say take a chair or a table and use it as a sukkah. You could only use raw materials, and if it's not fruit.
Actually, what the sukkahs were actually the name, of course, comes from shelters, but actually this is the way they lived most of the time. The harvesting of fruit and vegetables
when they lived
in those days.
So that's the interesting thing is that this holiday comes not when everyone is in the field, when everyone comes home. So you would say that if we're going to celebrate a holiday and sit in the field, and we're going to celebrate when in a hut, we should celebrate when everyone is sitting in a hut. No, the Torah says no. We're not. We're actually celebrating technically the going. Well, no. The part of the sukkah is that they traveled and they went and they have to have protection from the sun. So the Torah says that you should remember your generation should remember that I set the children of Israel, when I took them out of Egypt, I set them in sukkahs, in shelters. So some say that they actually had shelters, but that they made sukkahs. The majority of opinions actually is that God protected them with clouds, and those clouds are symbolized by our sukkahs. So they didn't actually have, because the Torah says that God protected them from all sorts of things. There was a cloud that went in front of them. They were called 7 clouds of glory, 6 clouds to cover them from all 6 sides, and the 7th one was ahead of the community, showing them the way during the day, and at night there was a fire, and they would travel, and and that protected, that killed everything that's on the way that was dangerous, and it even flattened mountains. Certain mountains stayed, but it even flattened mountains. It made it they should be able to travel the whole time that they were in the desert.
Well, let me ask you this then. Did this go on for 40 years? Did they carry anything along with them? Of course, the clouds.
Yeah, they carried everything. They carried the
clouds, the covering, that of course came from nature, from God.
From God, yeah, not nature. It was a miracle, miraculous. Cloud.
That came along with the setup.
Correct. So it came, and it protected them from all sorts of problems. So in commemoration to that, to remember that God is always the one who's providing us everything. So we sit in the sukkah. What we do is we live in it for 7 days, literally going out of our house and bringing all our foods and things, and we sit down and we live there. Some
you
people
actually eat there.
We eat there, and we do other things. The technical laws are like this: the first 2 nights of Sukkot, you have to actually eat in the sukkah. The rest of Sukkot, if you want to eat a meal, you have to eat it in the sukkah. If you don't want to eat a meal, if you're going to live on foods that is not a meal, like fruits and vegetables and things that are not like really a meal, you can get away with it by law. Uh-huh. So if people go to work and they don't have a sukkah, if they don't have any other choice, so don't take a sandwich, but take something, take a snack, sort of.
I like the expression used, they could get away with it.
Right. Why?
Why?
Because the proper way to do it is to actually eat everything.
Oh, I see.
The custom is to actually eat anything.
Everything.
And in Chabad, we have a custom to even drink water in a sukkah, which in other communities, they're not so strict about drinking water. Mm-hmm. Drinking water is not really a meal. It's just to quench your thirst. It's not. It's really, in a way, it's like whatever you would go, and wherever you would sit down in your house to do, you should sit down in your sukkah and do. Some people, and actually by definition of living, some people sleep in their sukkah. Mm. The majority of situation is nowadays that we don't sleep in the sukkah because we want to sleep with our families, and our families, the women are not obligated to sleep in the sukkah, and then it makes it uncomfortable to bring the whole house into a sukkah, and especially in places that it's cold.
Times are different now.
Many times it's
because they have.
You could say that.
They are. Why do I have to sleep uncomfortably? In those years, they had to, wherever they could.
You're not getting away with this one, but.
I'm not getting away. No, I'm not getting away. In other words, okay.
No, this one I'm not going to let you have, because then you're going to say times are different and then we shouldn't do other things.
Oh, no. I wouldn't do that to you.
Actually, let's go on a deeper level, okay?
All right.
On a deeper level,
yeah,
like
on
this,
deeper. Okay.
When you study the depth of what sukkah is about, and you realize that the sukkah is a holy place. It's not just a place covered over with schach, and you're just sitting there and eating, but you see it as a holy place, as a place where the blessings of the high holidays, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur was a cloud. It's just when the high priest went into the Holy of Holies, he was supposed to burn incense in the Holy of Holies. Once a year, he was allowed to go into the Holy of Holies.
That's what made it whole. The incense.
Well, that's what made the Holy of Holies. The room was in the temple.
Because you brought in the incense.
He went there and brought an incense. He also brought the blood of the certain sacrifices. There was different things that he did, but the incense, He had to burn it, and it brought up a cloud. So that cloud comes on Sukkot and in a revealed way. That was in a hidden way. So what happens is the joy that was taking place on Sukkot, Rosh Hashanah, which is very joyous days, that God forgave our sins and so on and so forth. But we were hiding that. Now it comes out in a revealed way on Sukkot time, because Sukkot time is now a very happy occasion. So the cloud is what a sukkah is about. It looks like a cloud, and the word schach, the numerical value of schach is 100. On Rosh Hashanah we sounded the shofar 100 times. There's many things, details of the sukkah that is very spiritual. And for a spiritual person, a person who feels the spirituality of sukkah, to go into a sukkah and go to sleep there, it hurts him. He can't do that. It bothers him. How could he be do a mundane thing in a sukkah? Nothing you do, and bring the bedroom, and you have to be careful. It's just not fitting for a person. So because we have that aspect of the spiritual study about sukkahs, so we feel that it's not. So it's not necessarily because we don't want to sit in sukkah, but when someone is in pain, he doesn't have to be in sukkah. In Jewish law, if let's say a person is sick or a person doesn't feel good, in fact, when it rains, you also don't have to be in a sukkah. The first night you have to eat at least an amount, like an ounce or two of food, a meal, and then and then if it still rains, you leave the sukkah and you finish your meal inside. So what I'm saying is, you don't have to pain yourself to go into the sukkah. You don't have to. If it's pain, you don't have to go into the sukkah. If it's pain for you to sleep in the sukkah, so you don't sleep in the sukkah. You sleep outside of the sukkah. And then there are people who don't sleep a whole sukkahs because of that. They don't want to sleep in the sukkah. They don't want to not sleep in the sukkah. The Rabbi didn't sleep in the whole time of sukkahs. He didn't sleep because he didn't want to sleep in a sukkah and didn't want to not sleep in a sukkah because he wanted to do the mitzvah the right way.
Well, the thing is this.
So a sukkah, let's take a picture of a sukkah. Let's look at a sukkah. I have a little bit of a drawing which the kids are going to use for coloring books. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's not colorful on this one, but the main mitzvah of sukkahs is that the 7 days or the 8 days nowadays we sit in a sukkah, and so first of all we have to build it. We build it. We have 4 walls. I mean, you can't see the other dimensions, but you have 4 walls. The minimum is 2 walls, and then the third wall could be a small wall, but on the other side of the. So it's like, let's say you make this wall, and then this wall. The next wall has to be like a cross, and it has to have like a door shape. The custom is to actually have 3 full walls, and the 4th wall open. You could have a little bit open for the door. So we have, and then the top, and you know what? You don't even need to build walls. You could use existing walls of a house. You could use a brick. In New York, you have buildings that are like the apartment buildings that basically it's all surrounded and it's open. So all you have to do is build on top of it. You have to build the place to put the schach. Schach is the main thing that it has to cover. By nature, it has to be open. In other words, you can't have a tree over it. It can't be in a house. It has to be totally open to the sun. And then you take schach. You take the cut branches, and you cover. And it has to be, the majority has to be shaded. If the majority of it is not shaded, it's not a kosher sukkah. You can make it as thick as you want. Some have a custom to actually see the stars through it. Some people have a custom to put a lot of schach. The main thing is if you put too much, it has to be able to rain in. When it rains, it has to be able to rain in.
Can I ask you a
question? Then it's not a.
After you get finished.
Not a it's not a permanent dwelling. So basically, you're taking a non-permanent dwelling, you're sitting there, and you're thanking God for.
That's what I want.
For the holiday, and you're celebrating.
Now, the point that I'm trying to say, what makes it holy? Is it the spiritual effect of godliness in there? That what is
The mitzvah, the commandment. When God gives us a commandment, it makes us holy.
And what was the commandment?
Before, up till now, it was just branches and nothing, and now He tells us in Sukkah you should dwell 7 days. Every person who's Jewish should be sitting in the Sukkah. For all your generations should remember that I situated your ancestors when you went out of Egypt.
In other words, this is something purely for remembrance.
But it remembers now also.
But it was made.
Reminds us that God's providence.
Well, that's why does God reveal Himself in that way?
People who are spiritual could feel it. I mean, you could feel a spirituality there. You could feel something different. You're not walking in just to a plain room. But a tzaddik or holy person could actually feel and say,
it's
spiritual. This is a holy
feeling.
place. Yeah.
All right.
Now, during Sukkot also, so this is one part of the Sukkot. The other thing is to take the 4 kinds, the lulav and the etrog, and the hadassim and the ravas. It's called the arba minim, the 4 types. And those 4 types are the lulav, that's a palm branch, and the etrog, it's a citron, it's called in English. Looks a little bit like a lemon, but it's much more. It's a sweeter smell, and it's not really edible. It's a little bit. You could use it for after Sukkot. People make jam out of it. It doesn't have much of the wetness inside. It's more of a hard cover.
But why is that a holy symbol of spirituality in regards to Sukkah? I mean, why is the lulav?
So again, the Torah tells us to take the lulav and the etrog. It doesn't use the word etrog. It says a beautiful fruit, but our rabbis told us that this is what it is. It's a fruit of etrog, and we take the hadassim. The hadassim are myrtle branches, and aravas is the willow branches, and we take them and combine them together. And we shake it. We go into the sukkah, and we make the bracha. If you don't have a sukkah, you could do it outside of the sukkah. It's not necessarily connected with the sukkah, but it's what you do is you're actually taking the blessings of the sukkah and drawing it into you. So you shake it and you pull it like this. Some people, the minimum is just to shake it, but the best is to take it and shake it to the right, to the left, front, up, down. 3 times and back to all sides. It's to bring in all the blessings and to keep away all the evil things.
Is that to keep away all evil from the person, from
the people,
or is it from the people, or
from the person,
and keep evil out of the sukkah, evilness or whatever you want? Is that the other?
Not out of the sukkah, out of our life. This is the month of the month of. I'm holding a thing that looks like a lulav holder, but it's not. We're actually this is actually pictures of the lulav and an illustration, and it actually brings out some points about it. Well, the estrogen is the right color.
Yeah.
It's a
yellow.
Yellow has what is called a pitum. Some have actually a little flower growing on top. And the bottom is oikets, and unfortunately I don't have really the microphone. I don't really, I couldn't I didn't get them yet in town before the holiday, so you'll have to look at the pictures, then we'll get them in. They don't grow naturally in Austin. So this is a lulav esrog, then comes the lulav. Proportionally, it's much bigger. It's actually, this one is like a hand, fits in the hand. This has to fit at least 4 hand breadths high. It's a long lulav. And the lulav is a palm branch which is closed. It's like not the fanned out ones. It's closed up. And then under it we have the minimum of amount of hadassim. Hadassim are myrtle branches which are green, green leaves. The lulav is also like a light green, but the myrtle branches have actually a triple growth of leaves. And then you have the aravas, which is made out of willow branches. Now rabbis say that there's many things that are involved with it. So here you have one of the explanations is that the hadassim have a very good smell. The aravas have no smell and no taste.
They describe
The lulav has a good smell. I mean, the fruit has a good taste.
It's got all the explanation.
Oh, you have here all the different explanations.
Yeah, it's
so
so
clean that it hasn't a single spot. It's wrinkled and creased. That's we're talking about the asher. It's wrinkled.
It's wrinkled and creased,
with rings. With ridges and bumps.
With ridges and bumps.
And not smooth-skinned like a lemon.
Like a lemon, right.
It's slightly sunken around the stem, where it was connected to the tree. That's over here, this area. It's shaped like a tower, wider at the bottom, narrowing at the tip. Actually, a better esrog gets a little bit straight over here, not so round. A better esrog actually has like a little middle part that looks like a little bit like a watermelon like length. And then it turns in.
It's shaped like a tower, wider.
And then it says it's shaped like so its stem and its pitum are in a straight line with each other. It doesn't always happen. I mean, it depends what kind of you get sometimes. And with how much do you think people spend for lulav and esrog? I mean, for the set. I mean, where do you get this from? Where does it come from? So you have people who deal with it. They go in the summertime. They go and cut them from the trees. You want it.
Where do they get it from? Where
do they get it from?
Yeah.
There is a Kabbalah. There is a tradition that Moses, when he needed the etrog in the desert, when God said that they should have the etrog and it didn't grow in the desert, so he sent someone on a cloud to go pick it up from where Esau lives, Esav, the brother of Yaakov, which is in Italy. So it comes from Genoa, from Genoa.
Genoa. Yeah, Genoa.
It's called
Genoa. It's called
Calabria. It has like three names: Genoa, Calabria, and Yaneve. It's Yaneve Esrog. So traditionally, it was always kept, and people always watched those fields for generations and generations. And over there, they always had access to be able to get to it and get the fruits. Whereas Israeli ones are transplanted. If they're transplanted, what might happen is that it gets mixed up with other types of fruits.
Where does it come from now? Still?
So there's different ones.
Yeah.
We do it for the ones from Italy. Some people get it from Israel. You have also from Morocco. It grows. It grows in Spain. There's different esrogs, and some people will say that those are not kosher. Some transplanted the ones from Italy in Israel and planted, which is also so you have both. You have the Israeli and from Italy. The lulav, which is the big one, which is actually, shame we don't have a picture, but the lulav stands up. Maybe we have it in this book. A lulav stands up, and you tie the different types together so that let's see if there's a picture on the cover here. No, there's no picture on the cover. We tie them together, and you make a blessing basically, and you tie the lulav and esrog, the lulav and the hadassim and the aravas together, and we put it together with the etrog. The esrog we don't tie, and the hadassim and the lulav and esrog and lulav and hadassim and aravas we put them together, which symbolizes, again, remember the different types of Jews. Jew that has a good smell, that Jew that has a good taste, meaning someone who learns Torah, someone who does more of the commandments, someone who learns more of Torah. And then you have one that doesn't do both, and then you have one that does one and not the other, and then you have the one that does both. So all four types we take and we put it together. Now, when do we do it? We do it in the morning. We do it in the mornings, or if you can't do it in the morning, the days of Sukkot. Sukkot this year will come out the Saturday following Yom Kippur. So if you know when Yom Kippur, you always have 5 days later is Sukkot. Going into the Sukkah, you do also on Shabbos, and that's where you eat all your meals and so on. And usually a synagogue has a Sukkah, so if you didn't build a Sukkah, you could still go out and build it. But if you couldn't, you could go to the Sukkah of your synagogue and eat there. The HEB was going to have a Sukkah, the kosher store. The Chabad house is going to have a Sukkah on campus. And we're probably going to even have also a Sukkah mobile, a Sukkah on wheels.
Is this actually a blessing to...
It's a blessing. It brings in blessings.
That's what it basically is. It brings in blessing from God into to his people. Right?
It brings blessings to the whole world. They actually used to bring sacrifices on Sukkah, especially for the whole world. So anyways, October 13th at night is when people should go into the Sukkah and eat at least a minimum of something to eat like a meal in the Sukkah, and October 14th also at night. And then during the days, from then on, 7 days, the whole week of Sukkot, from Sunday morning, October 15th and 16th and 17th and 18th and 19th and the 20th, we take the lulav and etrog and we shake it. If you can't do it at home, if you don't have a set, go to the synagogue. I'm sure in every synagogue they'll have a set for you that you can take and you shake it to all sides. You make the blessings. And then during the services, they actually go around the bima once every day. They go around the podium where you read the Torah. And then on Simchat Torah, which is going to be the next weekend, we're going to dance with the Torah and celebrate. Last day of Sukkot, we go around 7 times, and we whip with willows. We whip on the floor 5 willows, and Shmini Atzeres and Simchat Torah is the next weekend, which is the 19th, the 20th at night, and especially the 21st at night is the most joyous holidays in Jewish life. If you ever want to see how Jews get together and dance and sing, hold the Torah and dance, and it's an amazing celebration, come to the synagogue. Come to the Chabad house and we'll celebrate together. I'd like to wish everyone a happy holiday and many blessings, and we should go from level to level. We're blessed with a new year, and we hope that there's going to be happiness and tranquility in Israel.
Hope so.